Hello, cooperating teachers. Welcome back. My name is Maria Spalding. I'm the coordinator of student teaching, and I have created this presentation to give you a brief overview of edTPA. Depending on which state you reside in, you may ask, what is edTPA? edTPA is a student-centered, multiple-measure assessment of teaching. And many of our student teaching candidates are going to be participating in edTPA, so I wanted to make you aware of it during their student teaching semester. edTPA was developed under the leadership of the Stanford Center of Assessment, also Learning and Equity in partnership with the American Association of Colleges for Teacher Education. It focuses on areas that are very critical for effective instruction, so planning, instruction, assessment, analysis of teaching, and also academic language. During the edTPA process, teacher candidates are going to collect multiple pieces of evidence. So this would include lesson plans, teaching artifacts, videos of their teaching, also student work samples, reflections of their teaching, and narrative explanations. There are many benefits to including edTPA in a teacher education program. First of all, it provides an authentic assessment. Pearson has recruited and trained scorers who can give an outside perspective on how well our teacher candidates are doing. It also prepares our candidates for employment in now probably over 40 states by the time you've watched this presentation that will be participating. It also prepares them for their future teacher evaluation and gives them specific and detailed feedback, and also provides data for program effectiveness. I also wanted to briefly explain how edTPA impacts student teaching. During student teaching, candidates are going to complete an edTPA intention form, and this will be at the very beginning of the placement, and it will indicate whether they plan to submit their work to their instructor only or to edTPA for a Pearson outside grader to view the assessment. There's going to be an official edTPA submission date every fall and every spring for our student teachers, which I've included that there. And there's also more information on their website. But depending on the endorsement area of our candidate, they will have specific tasks that they will have to complete with aligned rubrics. In one of our other presentations, I gave you an overview of live text. And here you can find a screenshot of a student teacher candidate's live text account. And this will indicate whether they plan to send their edTPA tasks to their instructor or to edtpa.com. Since you are likely a cooperating teacher watching this presentation, I wanted to describe what your role will be during this process. First of all, if you are not familiar with edTPA, it takes some time to peruse the website and become more familiar with it. If you are in a state where you are very aware of edTPA, you may not need this information, but it's still provided there for you. Generally speaking, our cooperating teachers are going to offer support for excellent and reflective teaching, as we always have in the past, and they will also give context and background of the students in the classroom so the student teacher can be very intentional when planning instruction based on those student needs. I know if I was a cooperating teacher serving in your role, I would want to know clearly what is acceptable and what is not acceptable for me to do with a student teacher that is participating in the edTPA process. So briefly speaking, it is acceptable for you to examine their lesson plans, to give examples of effective teaching using the edTPA rubrics, which you can find online, or supporting documents that are represented there as well. It is also acceptable for you to provide a schedule or a timeline for completion of these tasks. And it is acceptable for you to help arrange technical assistance for the video portion of their assessment. It is also imperative for you to know what is unacceptable to do for supporting a candidate going through the edTPA process. It is unacceptable to edit a candidate's edTPA draft or to offer any sort of critique or feedback on an edTPA draft prior to submission. It is also unacceptable for you to tell a candidate which video clip or which work sample to select for submission. Also, it is unacceptable to upload a candidate's edTPA responses, whether those be written responses or videotape entries, on any public access or social media website. I know that video recordings might increase the anxiety for some of our student teacher candidates or our school system, so I'm going to give you an overview of what that process will look like. All of our candidates are expected to follow the cooperating teacher schools policies and protocols for getting necessary parental permission for videotaping. And in our student teaching handbook, we have a form, a videotape, a release form, which they can use as well. Our teacher candidates are instructed to submit their video clips that do not include the candidate's name, the names of the cooperating teacher, no identifying details like the school or district, etc. During the edTPA registration and also the submission process, they also need to acknowledge and agree that the video can only be used according to those parameters. So any students that were not given permission cannot participate in the video. Again, there's no public posting or sharing of these videos also. In closing, again, I would like to sincerely thank you for hosting one of our student teachers, and I also wanted to provide a couple of additional resources that I found when I was doing research for this presentation. Also, during the placement, we will be here to support you, so if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to your university supervisor, and we will be able to assist you. Have a great day.